Namaste, dear students. Welcome back. So, now I am here with one more illustration on liquidation of companies. So, as I said in my previous videos, so we are doing a basic, it is just a basics. I wanted to give you a strong basics. So, I'm just doing a basics problem in liquidation of companies lesson. So let us look into this problem. Taj Company Limited went into voluntary liquidation as on 31st March 2019. On that date, the position was as under. Point number one, secured creditors rupees 4 lakh secured on machinery. So that means there is a creditors so who have created a rights on the assets, so that is on the machinery. So if company fails to pay their debts, so that creditor will come and acquire the machinery. Clear? So that is what secured on machinery means. Unsecured creditors rupees 80,000. Preferential creditors rupees 10,000. So what is this unsecured creditors? The creditors one who do not have any charge on the asset. So there is no any assets has been pledged to raise this kind of credits. So preferential creditors rupees 10,000. So at the time of making payment, so the first priority, the first preference should be given to preferential creditors. So that is rupees 10,000 and cash in hand rupees 2,000. A realization of machinery rupees 35,000. They have sold the machinery for 35,000. Then realization of other assets rupees 25,000. So 25,000 is the other realized assets. The liquidation expenses amounted to rupees 2,000. There is an expenditure on liquidation. That amount is rupees 2,000. So the liquidator's remuneration is fixed at 3% on the assets realized and 2% on the amount paid to unsecured creditors. So here we are going to calculate liquidator's remuneration in two aspects. One is 3% on the assets realized, whatever the value of assets realized. So on that we are going to calculate 3% and 2% we are going to calculate on the amount paid to unsecured creditors. Whatever the unsecured creditors receive, on that we are going to calculate 2%. So prepare the liquidator's final statement of accounts. So this is the problem for which we have to do the solution part. We have to prepare which account? Liquidator's final statements of accounts. So let us begin the solution part for Taj Company Limited. So dear students, we are starting with the solution part. Okay, so that is illustration number 4, correct? Yes, what we are going to prepare? We are preparing liquidator's final statement of accounts. Liquidator's final statement of accounts. Okay, so let us begin the solution part. First we have to draft a table. So it is going to be a normal ledger entry type of table you have to draft. Yes, liquidators final statement of accounts. So write particulars rupees, particulars rupees. So you all know that liquidation means closing down of the company, and at the time of closing down, whatever the assets sold, that will be recorded in the debit side of the table, and whatever the payments made will be recorded in the credit side of the table. That you all know, correct? Yes, fine then. So we will begin the solution part now. So what we are going to write first? Realization of assets. Realization of assets. Realization of assets. So underline that, realization of assets. Under that, write surplus value of secured assets. So point A, surplus value of secured asset. Do you have any secured asset surplus value? See, in the problem we said that secured creditors 4 lakh secured on machinery. So it has been secured on machinery for 4 lakh debt. But if you look at that other part, that is point number 5, realization of machinery 35,000. So then the actual value and the realized value is very lesser. So that is why it cannot be a surplus value, correct? Because secured creditors is 4 lakh and that secured machinery, realization of machinery is 35,000. So this 4 lakh is greater and 35,000 is lesser. So that is why we cannot consider. Okay. Next is other assets realized. Point B, other assets realized. Under that we have cash. So how much? 2,000 rupees cash we have. Then we have other assets. So which they have clearly said in the point number 6, realization of other assets. How much we have? 0.6, 25,000, correct? So 25,000. So put together it is 27,000. Then they said that sale of secured asset, that is 0.5, realization of machinery 35,000. That also we should reflect here. Sale of secured assets. How much? 0.5, 35,000. So copy the same 35,000. That's all they have given the details about the sales. So now to whom all we are going to make a settlement. So first one is secured creditors. Secured creditors. So how much actually in the problem they have given? See, in the point number 1 they said secured creditors rupees 4 lakh in brackets secured on machinery. So then in point 5 they said the realization of machinery is rupees 35,000. See, they have given a money of 4 lakh and they have taken the rights on the machinery. So now we are giving the machinery to them, whatever the price might be. So what is the present price of the machinery? 35,000 according to point 5, 35,000. So secured creditors, how much I am giving? 35,000. Okay. So after that, we have taken unsecured creditors, we'll take it later. Preferential, we'll take it later. Cash in and taken. Realization of machinery taken. Realization of other assets taken. The liquidation expenses amounted to rupees 2,000. So we have to take liquidation expenses. Take liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses. How much? It is 2,000. 2,000 I have taken. Okay. So then we have to calculate liquidators remuneration, because immediate next point is the liquidators remuneration fixed as 3% on the assets realized and 2% on the amount paid to the unsecured creditors. Okay, so let us calculate liquidators remuneration. Liquidators remuneration. So underline that. In that point A, he said 3% on assets realized. So 3% on assets realized. Okay, now what is the value of assets realized? See here, other assets 25,000, sale of secured asset 35,000. Okay, so I'm taking this other assets 25,000, sale of secured assets 35,000. So put together how much? So I'm writing other assets, then secured asset, so that you will have a complete clarity. 35,000 plus 25,000. So put together it is how much? 60,000, correct? So I'll write it here, 60,000 into 3%, 3 by 100. 60,000 into 3 by 100, how much you will get? Calculate. 60,000 into 3%, 1,800. So that is equals 1,800 rupees. 3% on assets realized done. Then 2% on unsecured creditors, correct? 2% on unsecured creditors. Unsecured. 2% on unsecured creditors. So now unsecured creditors is also includes preferential creditors. So what I do, first I'll calculate on preferential creditors. Preferential creditors. On preferential creditors, how much? 2%. How much is the preferential creditors then? 10,000 into 2 divided by 100. How much? 200. Correct. Then 2% on unsecured creditors. I have to calculate. Preferential creditors is over. Now unsecured creditors. Unsecured creditors. Do we know how much unsecured creditors? We don't know. So we have to do the calculation. Correct. So we have to do the calculation part. So we have to go for a working note. So I'm writing the working note. Number 1. What is this all about? Calculation of unsecured creditors. Calculation of unsecured creditors. So as usual, we divide the page into two parts. Okay, so in this head I am going to write like how much assets realized. So that is 27,000 plus 35,000. Only two amounts I have here in the debit side of this liquidator final statement. 27,000 then 35,000. So I am copying the same 27,000 and 35,000. That's all I have. So now look at the payment side. So in the payment side 35,000, 2,000 I have. So I am copying that 35,000. Then I have 2,000. Next I have secured 3% on assets realized 1,800. Yes. Next I have 200 rupees, that is on preferential creditors. Done. Next we do have two more which we have not settled, that is preferential creditors. So that also we should show. So how much is the preferential creditors? Preferential creditors, point number 3, 10,000 rupees. 10,000. So that's all. So now let us find the total. 27,000 plus 35,000, 62,000. Correct. 62,000. 62,000. So find the difference. 62,000 minus 35,000 minus 2,000 minus 1,800 minus 200 minus 10,000. So the difference is 13,000 rupees. So we got unsecured creditors. How much? 13,000 rupees. Correct. So next what we are supposed to do? We have to do one more working note to calculate the unsecured creditors. So that is 2% on unsecured creditors, liquidators remuneration. Okay. So let us do that working note number 2 now. Working note number 2. Calculation of remuneration to liquidator on unsecured creditors. So we all know that formula is there. What is the formula? Available cash into percentage divided by 100 plus percentage. So how much available cash? 13,000. 13,000 into 2%, correct? Divided by 100 plus 2%. So that comes to 13,000 into 2 divided by 102. So that is 26,000 divided by 102. So ultimately that comes to how much? 13,000 into 2 divided by 102. So that comes to 254 rupees 90 paise. How much? 254 rupees 90 paise. So I am rounding off. I'll write here 254.90 is the answer. So I am rounding off to the 255 rupees. So 13,000 into 2 divided by 100 plus 2. 13,000 into 2, 102. 13 into 2, 26,000 divided by 102 is 254.90. So I have rounded off to 255 rupees. So we got on unsecured creditors how much? 255 rupees. So we got the liquidators remuneration part. So you can total it and put it to outer column. So that is 1,800 plus 200 plus 255. So liquidators remuneration is 2,255 rupees. 2,255 rupees. Okay. So next is preferential creditors. How much preferential creditors is there? 10,000. Yes. Preferential creditors 10,000 rupees. So then we have unsecured creditors. So write unsecured creditors. How much unsecured creditors we do have? You don't know. 13,000 we had, correct? So amount available for unsecured creditors 13,000. So we have calculated unsecured creditors 13,000. On that we have paid 255 rupees, 2%. So 13,000 minus 255. How much? 13,000 minus 255. So 12,745 is the unsecured creditors. 12,745 is the unsecured creditors. You can do it in this way, or else you total it, you are going to get 62,000 over here. So then deduct all the payments which are all we have supposed to pay. After that, whatever the difference you will get, that is itself unsecured creditors 12,745. But try to understand in a cleanest way. So that is, we had amount available 13,000. Out of this 13,000 we have paid 255 rupees for liquidators remuneration. So 13,000 minus 255, that comes to 12,745. Okay, so we are done with this liquidators final statement of account illustration number 4. Okay, so next, if you have any doubts at any point, please feel free to approach, because very soon we are going to start with the advanced level problems. So where you have to be very strong in the basics, so then only you can able to understand those advanced level of problems. Okay, so if you have any doubts, as usual, you can call me, message me, or you can WhatsApp me, or you can use the comment section, so that your doubts will be rectified. So this is the solution of illustration number 4. So as I said, this is also one of the basic problem. So this is not very toughest problem, or the kind of problem which will appear in your question paper. Okay, so whatever in future classes, very soon, maybe after 2 problems, I'm going to start with the question paper problems also. So meanwhile, you practice this, and you make sure that which are all the entries which where we have to record in the liquidators final statement of accounts. Okay, so I'll come back soon with one more video. Until then, take care. See you soon. Bye bye.